Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're really digging into something fascinating, the whole machinery of modern celebrity image control. We're looking at one specific moment, maybe something you saw scroll past online. You know the pictures. A huge star, Taylor Swift, stepping out for dinner in New York City. But what if that very normal seeming dinner, that solo outing, what if every single detail, like down to the boots she wore, was actually less about food and more about, well, narrative warfare, like a surgical strike to control how everyone felt about her brand new, maybe kind of controversial album?
That's precisely it. Yeah, the request we got was all about those mechanics. How does that post-release publicity machine really work? And using Taylor Swift's New York appearance right after the Life of a Showgirl dropped, it's a perfect case study. So we're looking at analysis that says, hold on, this wasn't just paparazzi getting lucky. This was a critical piece of branding, artistic reinforcement even.
Okay, let's unpack that. So the big question we're tackling is, how does one of the most famous people on the planet turn like a quick dinner in the West Village into maybe the most powerful bit of promo for her entire album?
Right. Our mission here is to look at that that deliberate split she created. You've got the big theatrical showgirl persona, all glitter and fantasy. Then you have this other version, the off-duty star. But she's like calculatedly relatable, very meticulously put together. We're going to show how this one single public appearance, this dinner, was basically designed to shore up the album launch, to protect it from maybe some choppy critical waters. It's beyond marketing. It's narrative engineering.
I like that term, narrative engineering, treating the city streets like another stage. Okay, let's start with the timeline, because the timing here feels incredibly precise. This dinner, the photos, it all happened Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. And that date is key, right? Because the album, The Life of a Showgirl, it had only been out for, 4 days? It dropped Friday, October 3rd.
Exactly. That timing means maximum media focus. It's her big first appearance after the release.
Yeah.
But it gets even more interesting when you look at the schedule. It wasn't just random. It was like a planned pause in this absolutely crazy promo week she was having.
Yeah.
She'd just done Jimmy Fallon the night before, October 6th. And then the very next day, the 8th, she had that massive takeover thing planned for Seth Meyers, like the whole show.
Yeah.
So this dinner, it was this calculated moment of quiet right between two huge TV appearances.
And the place she chose adds another layer, doesn't it? The 86. It's described as this upscale and intimate steakhouse in the West Village.
Yeah, and that combination, upscale and intimate, is really telling. Choosing somewhere high-end, A-list, it keeps that star status intact.
But intimate, that suggests, control, a predictable setting. It signals professionalism, really. Minimizes the risk of things getting messy, like chaotic fan mobs or unpredictable paparazzi shots you might get somewhere trendier, more chaotic. She basically picked a safe bubble. Okay, but the detail that seems to be the real masterstroke here, the thing that got all the headlines buzzing immediately, was that she showed up completely solo.
This is where it clicks perfectly with the album's themes. It's almost palpable. I mean, you, the listener, you're used to seeing her with her crew, right? Fiancé Travis Kelce, her parents, Blake Lively, that whole visible friend group. So the choice to step out totally alone for the very first big public visual of this new era, that was a statement. A big one.
Hang on, though. If the goal is just maximum positive press, wouldn't bringing Kelce or like a famous friend guarantee more clicks, more good vibes? Why risk looking, well, isolated?
That's a good point, and it gets right to the core of what this album's about. The Life of a Showgirl is all framed as this self-portrait, right? It's about looking inward, the craziness of the Eras Tour, just the singular experience of living under that intense spotlight. So by showing up alone, she visually hammered home that theme. Self-focus, singular artistic power. The message wasn't Taylor plus her support system. It was Taylor Swift, the artist, at her peak. She basically made sure the story around this career moment was hers, not defined by her relationships. It was like narrative insurance, showing competence, introspection, not dependence.
Right, okay, now let's talk clothes, because this is where it gets really interesting for me. The album's whole look is pure spectacle feathers, sequins, that vintage Bob Mackie vibe, over-the-top glamour. But then, for this dinner, she's in what's called a preppy-chic fall uniform. That feels like a total disconnect.
See, I don't think it's a disconnect. I think it's a really smart expansion of the brand. It's a very deliberate pivot. Moving from that high-concept, almost costumey stage look to something that works as high-fashion street style.
Yeah.
This look, it was made for fashion blogs, for fans to dissect. It sets up the wearable version for the era, the showgirl on her day off template.
Okay, let's actually break down what she wore, because the price tag alone is, Well, it tells a story about aspiration.
Yeah.
This wasn't just grabbing something comfy.
Oh, absolutely not. The whole outfit, the estimates put it well over $7,350.
Hmm.
And these are like instantly recognizable luxury pieces. You had the Miu Miu pleated tartan miniskirt that's about $2,350 right there. Then the boots, these camel suede pointed toe ones by Jennifer Chamandi, around $5,550. And the bag, that structured black Dior, the small 30 Montaigne Avenue top handle, that's another $3,450.
Wow. Okay, yeah, $7,350 for dinner. That definitely screams A-list. But like you said, the actual style, the plaid skirt, the boots, it still feels kind of familiar for her, doesn't it?
And that familiarity is the genius part, commercially speaking. That combo plaid skirt, call boots that's described as a time-honored outfit formula for her, she does a lot. So using it again makes this objectively super expensive look feel grounded, somehow more authentic to her style.
So why this specific look then? Why not wear something, more directly showgirl themed, even a toned down version? What's the business reason?
I think it really comes down to commercial reach. Fan participation, almost. Those big stage costumes, the feathers and rhinestones, they're pure fantasy. Fans can't really replicate that easily, right? Maybe a pricey piece of merch or like a cheap Halloween version. It's not accessible.
Go ahead.
But this preppy outfit, it's a blueprint. Okay, yeah, the actual Miu Miu skirt is crazy expensive, very aspirational. But the formula, tartan skirt, tall boots, simple top, anyone can copy that with fast fashion. So this street-style look, it massively broadens how people can engage with the era's fashion, lets average fans participate in a practical way.
Yeah.
And that gives the whole Showgirl brand way more reach, way more life beyond just the stage and the music videos.
That makes so much sense. The difference between the fantasy costume and the practical blueprint. Okay, let's pull back a bit. The album this look supported, The Life of a Showgirl. It's digging into fame, performance, living life like a gilded fantasies. Yeah.
Exactly. The whole rollout was super theatrical. That signature hunter orange color everywhere, a very specific cinematic sound, lots of Max Martin, lots of Shellback, big dramatic maximalist pop.
Mm-hmm.
And the promotion was flawless operationally. You had that huge Spotify immersive thing, the global movie theater release party. The works.
And yet, despite all that, and despite everyone obsessing over this perfect NYC look, fans calling her a queen, everything positive. The album itself, it got a much rockier reception from critics compared to her other recent stuff.
And that's the crucial tension. That's why this visual strategy, this dinner look was so important. The performance of being Taylor Swift was perfect. But the actual music, the 12 songs, some critics really pushed back. Instead of just universal praise, you saw reviews calling it experimental and confusing. Some even used words like unfinished.
Wow, unfinished. That's pretty harsh, especially given who she worked with. If it's Max Martin and Shellback, known for huge pop hits, why experimental or confusing? What was going on there?
Well, it seems like it maybe deviated from what critics expected structurally. Sources suggest they found the sound really dense, lots of synth layers, maybe some jarring emotional shifts that mirrored the lyrics about public versus private life. Reviewers felt it wasn't giving those immediate clean hooks like some of her other recent hits. So ambitious, maybe, but also dense, potentially. And that kind of mixed reaction is exactly what a huge album launch tries to avoid.
And this is where that October 7th dinner really earns its keep, defensively speaking.
Precisely. That one perfect, widely shared visual moment. It basically acted as insulation against those mixed reviews. Just think about how stuff spreads online. Fashion sites, celeb news, lifestyle blogs, they were flooded with the Miu Miu skirt, the boots, the solo arrival, all positive analysis. So the social media conversation was instantly, overwhelmingly positive about her. The more nuanced critiques about synth layers or song structure, completely drowned out by the visual celebration.
So the story that blew up wasn't critics aren't sure about the sound. It was Taylor Swift looks amazing and is totally owning NYC.
That's the core takeaway for you, listening. It just shows her absolute mastery of visual storytelling. The performance being Taylor Swift, the image of control, of confidence, of style that became way more powerful, more culturally sticky than any technical music criticism. That whole week, including the dinner, it was basically a stage play across New York City, a performance designed to guarantee a win culturally, no matter what the music reviews said.
It really confirms that at that level of fame, the line between private life and public performance just dissolves. It's completely gone. That solo dinner wasn't just promo, it was a performance piece designed to take this theatrical brand and make it wearable, make it commercially accessible.
And what's really fascinating to think about is the power shift here. If the visual performance, the image of celebrity, is strong enough now to create a massive cultural win, tons of positive buzz, brand extension, fan engagement, Even when the actual art, the music gets mixed reviews, how does that change the game for artists planning a release? Maybe the question isn't just, is the music good anymore? Maybe it's, is the image management flawless enough to guarantee success anyway? That's definitely something to chew on.
Absolutely. A really compelling look behind the curtain at how these moments are actually built.
Mm.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the mechanics of modern image strategy.